Hello everybody, welcome back to my Flosstube channel. Today I am filming Flosstube number 6, I believe. Super exciting. Today I have just a couple things to catch up on, personal life-wise. Of course, we've got a whip update as usual. I have a little bit of a haul, not like too crazy. And then I have a couple plans to go over, as well as a question to pose. I'm looking for some advice on whether to restart one of my projects. So, as usual, I will make sure to include video chapters down in the thingy, so you can skip ahead to whatever it is that you want to listen to or watch first. Yeah, so off the bat, life stuff. I've got my little list here for Flosstube. I've started keeping a list during the week of like all the stuff I want to talk about in my Flosstube videos, because it always happens that I forget, a certain project I worked on or something I wanted to talk about. So that's been really helpful for me. But anyway, yeah, so this past weekend, it was, I think the 22nd through the 24th, was the 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. If you guys have never heard of that before, the idea is basically that you focus on cross stitching for 24 hours. I believe the original idea was that you would sit and do cross stitch for 24 hours consecutively. So you'd like pull an all-nighter and all of that. But some people now have adapted it to where you'd try to do 24 hours over the whole 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or you just try to do as much as you can in that time period. And this was the first time that I participated in it. I believe they do it like every 3 months or so. So I did know about it in January, but I didn't know that it was happening until it was over. Like I didn't know what date it was going on, and then all of a sudden it was already over. So I joined the Facebook group for it so I could keep track of when that weekend was going to be. And unfortunately for me, April is always just a super busy month. With Easter, I don't personally celebrate Easter, but the rest of my family does. And the 17th was also my little sister's 21st birthday. So there was that. And then on the 23rd, this past Saturday, I actually was out of town, for an anime convention, which, I haven't been to in, a little bit over 2 years. The last one I went to was in February of 2020. So right before the pandemic hit for real here in the US. Yeah, it was really fun. I just went with a couple friends. We just went for a day. We actually attended a convention that I used to volunteer for. I helped run it for 4 years, I believe it was. So we wanted to just kind of go and see how it was doing now that we weren't on staff anymore. And, it was just kind of nice to go to a convention after not having been at one for several years. We had a few drinks. We got some stuffed animals, as you do. I got to do some fun makeup. So yeah, I had a really good time, but unfortunately for my 24 hours of cross stitch desires, it was during the 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. So unfortunately, this time around, I didn't get to do, I would really like to sit and do like a full 24-hour marathon, but that's just not something I was able to do this time. I also was not, we'll talk about this during my whip updates. I wasn't even able to stitch for 24 hours over the whole weekend. But I'm still really happy with the amount of progress that I did get done. So, but yes, that's what I was up to this past weekend. As for other life stuff, my personal life has also been crazy. Like I was just saying, with birthdays and Easter and stuff. I also have been doing a lot for my job. Without going into like too much detail about everything, I work at a local pagan and witchcraft bookstore, and twice a year, we do it once in the spring and once in the fall. We have this really large scale market type event, and I am actually the event planner for the bookstore. So I've been super stressed out about that. Our event is happening this next Saturday on the 30th. So I've just been trying to make sure like everything is ready to go, make sure all of our vendors are on the same page. And yeah, it's just been a lot. Pretty much everything is all set to go. We just have to actually do the dang thing now, but it's really stressing me out a lot. Yeah, so I'm really excited for that to be over. We'll also be closed for a few days after the event so that we all have time to just exist for like 5 days in a row before we have to get back at it. So I'm really looking forward to the first week of May when I have a bunch of days off in a row. So hopefully this week I will be able to force myself to relax for a little while. And for me, that means cross stitching. Also, this little leaf right here, this is my Monstera. I don't know if I've mentioned this really on this channel, but I really like keeping houseplants. I've got a shelf of them directly next to where I have been filming lately. And yeah, it just came up on my Facebook memories that I've had this for like just over a year now. I think it was 2 days ago I got the thing saying that I got him a year ago, and he's so big now. I love him. This is obviously only one of his many leaves. He's probably about 4 feet tall from like including the pot with his roots in it. He's a big man. He's just a regular Monstera deliciosa. I also have a satin pothos. I don't know if oh yeah, he can reach. His leaves look like this. He's very pretty. I don't think it'll focus. Oh, there it goes. He's my oldest one. And he likes to put out vines, so he's doing really well as well. I've got a bunch of others, but this isn't a plant channel, so I won't talk about all of them, but it's almost repotting season. A couple of them are going to need some larger pots. I did just repot literally everybody last year, so some of them are doing okay. I don't think my pothos is going to be repotted this year, or my Monstera, because he was already repotted in the fall. But yeah, exciting, very exciting. Also, I got a new memory card for my camera. That may not seem all that exciting, but for me, it's super exciting. I've had the same memory card for basically forever. It was a 32 gigabyte memory card. So on this camera, which films in very high quality, the file sizes are really, really, really big, especially compared to my old camera, which is, I'm looking at him. Hello, old camera. And I could record on this camera for about 43 minutes. And that would fill up the entire SD card. So now I got a 256 gigabyte memory card, so now I can film for 10 hours. So that's a big difference. I'm very happy about that. I really appreciate that I won't have to stop in the middle of long videos to unload my SD card onto the computer. Onto my whip update. For the 24 hours of cross stitch challenge, which I was just talking about, I did like set a stopwatch for myself while I was stitching. Usually in the past when I've tried to time myself to see how long I've been stitching for, I would just take note of what time I started, like, oh, it's 3:10 p.m. But I would just constantly forget, or I would take breaks and then I like wouldn't remember how long the break was. So it was just easier for me to set a stopwatch on my phone. So for Friday, I was able to stitch for 4 hours and 15 minutes, and on Sunday, I was able to stitch for 4 hours and 6 minutes. So for the whole weekend, I got in 8 hours and 21 minutes of stitching, which I am honestly not mad about, again, considering the fact that I was completely out of town on Saturday. And that was like a really intense, very draining activity. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to have the energy to stitch on Sunday, so I'm really, really happy that I was able to get those 8 hours in. But yes, as for what I got done, I worked on 2 projects during that time. The first one was let me move the needle here because the thread is all over the place. The first one was my That Which Does Not Kill Us Sal by the Urban Stitcher. I think last week I had just started some of the fill for the henbane. This week I was able to finish the fill. I actually finished the fill on like Wednesday. My fiance had a blood donation appointment. Unfortunately, due to just some stuff with my body, I'm not able to donate blood. I just don't really have the vein structure for it, and I also have an iron deficiency. But my fiance is able to, so he went in to donate blood, so I sat in the car and cross-stitched. So I did almost the whole fill since the appointment was about an hour, including like the rest time afterwards. And then during the stitch time on Friday, I spent about 3 hours working on the bottle, and then I got to the shelf part as well. But I didn't end up finishing all of it, if you can see. I didn't finish like filling in with that light brown color. I have to do the little corner bits, and then I have to actually do the words as well. But I'm super close to being done with that. I just got really bored of it, I guess. Yeah, but I'm really happy with the progress that I got on this. Hopefully this week I will have the motivation to finish what I started. That would be really nice. I think the main reason I was having trouble staying excited about that stitch along was because I knew that during the whole past week, I had been spending a lot of time and money kitting up one of the Haid Heaven and Earth Designs patterns that I bought last week. Yeah, so I knew that I had the materials for that, and I really wanted to finish the bottle that I was working on, but at some point I was just like, I am not enjoying this anymore, and I really just want to start that other project. So I have done a bit. The one that I chose to start with is Magic Study Rainbow version in Max Color by Rose Kahn. There is a limited edition version of this pattern that has more of a cool tone and kind of blue and purple color scheme. That one is out of print, but they do have this rainbow version, which is the one that I am stitching. So I just started it this Saturday, or I started it on Friday, and then I did most of this on Sunday. I only completed about 2 squares on Friday. And this is being stitched 2 over 1/10 stitch. If you don't know what that means, it's pretty much like a half stitch. So instead of doing a full X, you only do one leg of the X. And then this is a 28 count easy count Lugana. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving stitching on this. I think this has, let me check. I know I've done over 1,000 stitches on this, which I'm pretty pleased with. I have 1,110 stitches, which puts me at 0.25%. So honestly, not too bad considering I only worked on it for 5 hours. I mean, this is a pretty good chunk of the upper left corner that I have done. This is all the same color. This is DMC 820. I'm trying to do all of the 820 in this area, pretty much like all the 820 on this page, just to get it out of the way. It's like one of the main background colors on this section, so there's so many colors in this pattern. So, but yeah, I've really been enjoying this. And, yeah, the reason that I know how many stitches that I have done on this is because I have started using Pattern Keeper. Now, to most of you, you're probably like, yeah, everybody in the world uses Pattern Keeper. You're not special. I know. If you have never been to my channel before, I've talked about multiple times how I just really prefer using paper patterns. I've been cross-stitching since I was about 10. My mom taught me how, and so I learned that way, and then as I started doing more and more complex patterns, I still enjoyed using the paper ones, but just because of how massive this chart is. I mean, this this design is over 440,000 or 444,000 stitches. There's a lot. And the actual pattern is like a ton of pages. And I just like thought it would be really stupid to print them all out, which is what I usually do. But again, for patterns that have a lot less pages. So I decided I think this is the third time I've downloaded Pattern Keeper onto my phone. I decided to give it another go for my Haid patterns, and I actually really like it. So I think part of the reason before that I didn't like Pattern Keeper is just because of the things I was working on. So in the past, I've talked about one of my other whips is this like fox stitch. In the past, I did the partner piece to that, which is a wolf design. And I did that one. I did not have a printer at the time, and it was like peak pandemic. So I just worked from the PDF on my laptop. And I really, really hated working off the PDF. It was just such a pain to have to like have my it's not a huge laptop. It's a fine laptop, but it was very cumbersome to have this laptop I had to put somewhere. And trying to keep track of where I was on the page was just a lot. I kept getting lost in all of the stitches. There were some really large color block sections on that because it was like a silhouette kind of thing, and I would just like miss stitches. There was a part that I missed a stitch somewhere and I literally could never find where I messed up on it. So after that I started doing physical patterns, and then when I started Flosstube, I around the same time I picked up these really complex designs by the designer Make It Pink. She has charted a lot of Hannah Alexander's designs. I'll put the one that I'm currently working on up on the screen. It's called Odile. And this chart has, it's so much. There are like 20 different blends. There's a billion fractional stitches, and I truly mean a billion. There's a ton of beads. There's a ton of specialty flosses like the satin flosses and DMC light effects. And there's also a lot of back stitching. And Pattern Keeper just really, it just really doesn't do well with these patterns. I tried uploading it to Pattern Keeper and it like wouldn't take the file at all. However it is that she releases her patterns, it really does not cooperate with Pattern Keeper. So I was like, I don't have the energy to deal with this. I'm just going to keep using paper. And then when I got my Haids, I think this is probably the best method is going to be for me to use Pattern Keeper for these. And yeah, I'm really, really liking it actually. So I did end up reaching out to Make It Pink. Her first name is Ashley. And she does have Pattern Keeper friendly versions of the designs that she does. So she was able to send me those for the 3 patterns that I've purchased from her. So I did get those uploaded into Pattern Keeper, but I had to like hand enter in all of the different blends because it just got so confused with all of the fractional stitches. It like couldn't figure out what symbol was supposed to be for what. Yeah, it took a lot of effort. So for those designs, I'm still planning to use paper patterns. I'll kind of roughly track my progress on Pattern Keeper, but it's just impossible. It feels impossible to use those on Pattern Keeper. But again, for stuff like Haids, or for my Gecko Rouge kits, I feel like it'll be really, really helpful. That was very long-winded about Pattern Keeper, but yes, I am very excited to be using it. I'm hopefully going to be getting a tablet for it at some point. If you guys have a tablet, what kind of stand do you use for it? Like, do people have stands for it? I feel like you would need one. I don't know. I don't really know. Let me know how you guys use tablets for Pattern Keeper because right now I'm just doing it off my phone, which I have a S21, so it's a pretty good phone. Like, it's very large, it's easy to see, but I just don't have like a good way to mount it anywhere to deal with it in a more efficient way. So let me know what you guys do for pattern keeper stuff. So that was extremely long-winded. I've been talking for a hot second here. But yeah, anyway, that's what I have for whip updates. My That Which Does Not Kill Us Sal is not in Pattern Keeper because this is entirely backstitch. So it literally would, I don't think Pattern Keeper supports backstitching. So I'm not even going to bother with that. But yeah, full coverage pieces are definitely going in Pattern Keeper. Okay, now we are going into haul stuff. So first and foremost, like I already talked about, I did kit up Magic Study this past week. And I am working on the max color version, and there are a ridiculous amount of flosses I want to say it's almost 300 colors. I think it's like 290 something. So I made a couple trips to a couple places. My sweet, sweet partner Ruben got to stand in various craft stores with me while I picked up Floss. So I have my receipts because I just want to show you how impressive they are. So this one is from, I'm just making sure none of our personal information is on here. The first one is from our local craft store. They are not a needlework store. They're more of like a yarn and knitting store, but they do have a fair number of DMC flosses. So, lately when I've been kitting up stuff, I typically go to them first just to get what I can from a local business. Even though it is more expensive, I'd rather spend my money supporting them than like, Joann's or something. So I think it was 63 flosses there. So here's my long receipt for all of those, but this is absolutely nothing compared to my legitimately 5-foot long receipt from Michael's. This is almost as tall as my partner. It is very long. The cashier printed it just because he wanted to see how long it was going to be. It took him about 15 minutes to ring up all my floss. He was so sweet. He was so kind about it. We went at kind of a weird time at night. It was like 7:30. So nobody was there. Literally the whole time he was ringing us up, nobody came to get checked out behind us. So I didn't feel too bad. We got to chat with him and he was really sweet. So it was actually pretty fun. I was really anxious about like troubling him by making him ring up all this floss, but yeah. Anyway, this is simply so much. I can't even describe how much this is for me. That wasn't even all of it. That was like 2/3 of it. Plus, I also have 60 flosses in this bag as well. Yeah, because while there may be 290 colors or however many, a lot of them need multiple skeins. And I'm still missing some. So that is super fun. I did print out, I can show there's no symbols on here. I printed out the little like floss usage thing from the beginning of the pattern. This is 6 pages. Wow, 6 pages worth of floss. And I just brought this with me to the store, and I brought a highlighter, if you can see, and I sat there and I pulled flosses off and I highlighted when I put them in my basket. I'm still missing probably about 10 different colors that Michael's and the LNS did not have. LNS, if you don't know, stands for Local Needlework Shop. But yes, I still have a few I need to go out and buy. And some of them I may end up needing additional skeins in the future. The calculations for how many skeins you need are based off of doing this project on a 25 count fabric, and I'm doing mine on a 28. So I don't think the counts will be too different, but I figured if I could get away with buying a little bit less floss, I would try to do that. So I don't mind if I have to end up going back later on to get like 3 whole flosses, but I literally feel like I bought every single DMC color in the world. I did not, but it feels like it. As for organization for that stuff, we will get into that in my plans section. So if you're interested, I'm so sorry I bumped my camera. Stick around for that. So this past week, aside from magic study stuff, it ended up being really bad. I'm just gonna be straight up. It was bad. I just needed a way to cope with all the stuff that was going on. And I did feel a little bit bad about using shopping as like a way to help myself get over what was going on. So last week I mentioned that in one of my videos somebody had commented something about a tarot sal stitch along, and I was very interested. The person who does the sal is called Witch's Garden Crafts, and at the time it was during the Etsy strike, so I could not go onto their Etsy page. They had their shop on vacation, so I wasn't able to like look at what the pattern was like. But now, this past week, their shop was open again. So I did look around on their shop. It actually, excuse me, the pattern is not on their Etsy shop, but they do sell fabric. So the pattern is through Gumroad. So I can go ahead and link that in the description. I almost said downstairs. It is very late at night. It's currently 1 a.m. Technically on Tuesday. So you guys will be seeing this like a few hours after I finish filming. Anyway, I'll go ahead and link that Gumroad listing. And then I purchased this fabric from them. This is specifically made for the sal. I'm sure you could use like any other fabric that you wanted to, but I just really liked the colors that they had available. So this is an 18 count Aida in the color, I really don't know how to pronounce this, Antique, something that starts with a D. I'm not even gonna try it. But this is what it looks like. I really wanted one of the opalescent colors, but they only had opalescent available in 14 count, and I just really wanted to not stitch on 14 count. Nothing against it. Actually, my current stitch along is on 14 count, and I have another project on 14 count as well. I just was hoping that if I did this on a slightly smaller count, it wouldn't be so big. Yeah, so kind of bummed that I did not get an opalescent one, but I do really, really like that color. I was not entirely sold on it, but my fiance talked me into it, and I'm really happy that he did, because I think it's gonna look super good on that fabric. So obviously I am behind on that sal, considering it's been going on for a couple months and I just bought it. So I'm probably just gonna stitch that whenever and not really treat it as a sal. Whereas with this one, I would really like to be caught up. I don't know that that's realistic. I have 1, 2, and 3 more entire things, like the full fill and bottle that I need to stitch. I am about 8 weeks behind. But yeah, anyway, the tarot one, I'm really excited to get going on. I did download the files for it, so I do have them. I haven't put them into Pattern Keeper yet or printed them. I think they'll probably go on Pattern Keeper. But yeah, that I will get around to at some point. I'm not going to quite start it yet. They did also, this is their little card that they sent with my order. They did also send me a little like swatch of some fabric. This looks like it's probably an 18 count Ada. And it's in this really nice, like, dark blue. I don't know what I'll put on this yet. Something very small, obviously, because this is just a tiny little guy. But I think it's always nice to have these little swatches. Maybe I'll find something really tiny that can go on there. Okay, that is everything I have for haul. So now into the last section, which is plans. So, with all of those flosses for my magic study piece, there are so many flosses, and a couple of videos ago I talked about floss storage and just cross stitch storage in general. I can go ahead and link it in the little iCard up here if you guys have not seen that one. But yeah, I mentioned how I do my floss storage, and currently I bobbinate all of my flosses and I keep them in, I don't have them over here, but there's those little plastic bins. I think they're just called bobbin cases, if I'm not mistaken. And that's just what I do with my DMC floss right now. But I genuinely think it would take me weeks to sit and bobbinate all of that thread. I did, when I was purchasing all of this floss, I did go through all my DMC and I made sure not to purchase the ones that I already have. So all of the floss that I have is brand new and stuff that is not yet in my stash. So everything needs to be bobbinated. And the thought of that is just like giving me hives. I actually really like bobbinating thread, but it gets really tedious after maybe 15 or 20. And I just don't know that I would be able to sit and do all, like, literally 200 of these. So I think I've been tossing up about this for a few weeks now, almost a month, and I've talked to my fiance about it a bunch of times. Bless him. He's wonderful. I'm so happy that he is willing to listen to me go on about all this, all this stuff to him. But I think I have decided I'm going to buy, the floss chips that I mentioned from Pip and Chip. I think it's just called Pip and Chip, but they do acrylic bobbins and floss chips, which are essentially just floss drops, but that's just what they've chosen to call them, is floss chips. So the reason I've been tossing up about it for so long is you have to buy the full set of all 500 DMC colors at once, and it is quite a bit of money. Yeah. So yeah, thankfully the paychecks that I make from my job are supplementary income, and it's pretty much my own spending money. So when I get paid this week, it's pretty much going to be going off to Pip and Chip to get those floss chips going. I believe it takes almost a month for them to finish your orders right now, which is totally fine. But I just really want to get that order in as soon as I can so that I can start like actually kitting this kit or this pattern up, so I don't have giant bags of floss laying around. That would be ideal. I also have to get a few storage boxes for that from IKEA. Their suggested way of storing these is getting these little, like, box things from IKEA, and you can choose to have them send you these little, like, racks that fit into the boxes. And then you can slot all of the floss chips into the racks, and it's really neat and tidy. All the floss hangs down really nicely, so it doesn't get all scrunched up from, like, jamming it into a box or a bag or something. It does take up a lot of space, but I think I'll be fine. I have enough space in my room that I think I'll be able to figure out a solution for that, so I'm not too concerned. But yeah, I think it'll really help me stitch a lot faster to have stuff on floss drops. I don't know. I think it'll just be really great. So I'm really excited to get that ordered and for it to arrive. Sorry, I had a Q snap on this side of me. Anyway. Yes. Also in plans, I have been considering a new start. Jess from Cross Stitching Smiles recently shared a picture of one of Stitchy Princess's new designs on her story, and it is So cute. It's like a beekeeper kind of little, I think they called it a sampler, but it's just a little like small chill stitch. The border is made of bees. It is so cute. Jess said that she purchased the pattern. I had been chatting with her about it. She's planning to take it away on vacation with her when she goes very soon. I don't know when she's flying out, but soon. And I said that I really wanted to do it. And she said that her and I should do it as like a little stitch along type deal. And I thought that would be super fun. So I'll probably be getting that this week as well. I'm not sure. It'll probably just end up being on some fabric I have around here. But it's such a small stitch. I don't think it'll take all that long to finish, and it doesn't have a ton of colors. So I'm really excited about that one. It's just so cute. So I'm really, really, really excited to do that. Two other things in plans. They're both kind of weird things. So the first thing is about, I guess I'm looking for some advice. I think I need somebody to tell me that it's going to be okay. So, if you guys don't know, I've been working on Bohemia, by Gecko Rouge. The original art is by Medusa Dollmaker. I am pretty close to 2,000 stitches in. I think I'm at like 1,800 roughly. This is 25 count even weave, and I've been doing it 2/1 full cross. My problem is, ever since starting, well, now I just put it all the way to the side. Ever since starting Magic Study, I've been doing that tent stitch, and I'm really realizing how much I enjoy doing tent stitch on full coverage pieces. And I don't know. I think that I would be able to stitch on this a lot faster if I was doing it in tent stitch. Because literally on Magic Study, I got almost the same number of stitches that I have in Bohemia in like basically a single day of work. And this has taken me quite a few days to do. So I don't know. I thought about maybe like, just switching to 2/1 tent stitch on this, but then I'm worried that it's not going to look right because the coverage is going to be a lot different, like thickness wise than the full cross. So I just don't want it to look super weird. And I also considered, starting over. I don't think I would go and purchase new fabric. I would probably sit and rip all of this out, which would take forever. But I don't know. I also considered maybe switching to doing 4/1 tent stitch, which would give me the same amount of strands on each square, but I think that just sounds honestly ridiculous. I don't know, maybe it's not, but I don't know. I think that the two options are going to be 2/1 tent stitch or starting over to do 2/1 tent stitch. So let me know what you guys think I should do. I know I've definitely seen people on Flosstube start projects over before. Like Jess recently started Shelf Life over, and she had quite a few stitches in that as well. And now she's even farther than she was before. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys would do. I'm feeling like really sad about wanting to start it over, but I think that might be the best option. And I'm not too worried about thread usage. I know if I do end up running out, that Gecko will gladly send me more of this color, so I'm not, that's not really a concern for me. But so I have one last thing to talk about, and this is also just kind of weird. And I don't know. I guess I'm not like extremely stuck on it, but I just kind of wanted to share this with you guys since I keep forgetting. So I've mentioned in the past that my mom used to be really big into cross stitch. She can't really do it anymore. She just like, she's in her mid 50s, so her eyes don't work very well. for her to focus on something as small as cross stitch. So she ended up having to stop. But she had like a project that she was working on that she never got around to finishing. This project she made, it started in 1998, which is when I was born. It was supposed to be like a baby stitch for me. And she actually got most of it done. I have it right here, so I'll show you in a second. But she just never was able to finish it because, like I said, she really can't stitch anymore. And for literally for years, I've been asking her, when are you going to finish this cross stitch? Like, are you going to work on it? And then when I got to be a teenager, I started asking her, can I finish it? Like, will you let me work on it if you aren't going to do it? And she kept saying no. But this past Christmas, she told me that she wanted me to take it. I think she's finally resigned herself to the fact that, if she wants to stitch, she's going to have to get a second LASIK eye surgery, which is, I don't think they do that. But what the stitch is, this is Noah's Ark. It's the Precious Moments Noah's Ark, I guess, by Gloria and Pat is who charted it. It's so cute. I really like it. And she actually has a ton of it done, like I said. So let me get it here. It's still, let me see if I can fold this in a way that it's gonna, it's gonna work. So I think this is about as good as I can get it. She has like all of the main stuff done pretty much. She has all of the back stitching left. And there's like 50 colors of back stitch. I am not kidding. The other night I pulled this out just to look at how much backstitch there was. Literally, this entire column is all different backstitching instructions. It's like, oh, backstitch this color on this thing. Backstitch 890 in these eyes. Backstitch this color in these eyes. Like, oh my god. And I also think there's a couple things that she hasn't filled in yet. Maybe it's really is just the back stitching and I'm just tweaking. Yeah, I think it is just the back stitch. Oh no, she missed the butterflies. Mom! She has not stitched these little butterflies off the edge. But yeah, most of it's done. I just have to figure out where to start. I'm feeling really overwhelmed by this because it's not my piece. So like, I mean, it's been so long since she worked on it. I'm sure she doesn't even know where she would want to start with it, but, it's just a lot. She did give me, it's literally in a 24-year-old Ziploc bag. She did give me all the floss. So, she's got it all bobbinated and it's all organized and stuff. But it's just a lot. So if you guys have ever taken over a project from somebody else, let me know how you went about tackling that. Or if you've ever stitched a chart from the 1990s, let me know what your plan of attack was, because I don't know what, like, if you look at this, there's so much backstitching in there. Like, it is insane. So, also I was reading through this and there's like all these like cute little instructions, like right here. It's like, you will love working on linen. And I'm like, okay, go off, I guess. Also, this was all stitched in hand. I know that for a fact. My mom never used a hoop or anything like that. And I'm hoping that it will be fine for me to put on a hoop. Let me know if that's a terrible idea. I think it should be okay. But I really am not confident in my abilities to backstitch in hand. If I had to do full cross stuff, I think I would be pretty comfortable with that. Because that's what I used to do growing up, but I don't think that I could do clean back stitching in hand. So hopefully it'll be fine for me to put that in a hoop. She also gave me the one that she purchased for my little sister, which is still like completely in the thingy. So this is a full kit. The Noah's Ark one was not a kit. She had to kit it herself, she was saying. But this one is a kit, and it's also a lot smaller, if you can tell. She asked me to do this one as well, if I'm able to, which I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. This should be super easy, so I just have to actually do it. This was $11 at the Wisconsin Craft Sale in 2001. So, Wisconsin Craft Market, excuse me. But yes, those are some things that I keep forgetting that I have. I've had them for 4 months. I should work on them. But yeah, I feel like I should finish the old one first. But again, I'm just so intimidated by all that backstitch that I haven't got to it yet. I think that is finally everything that I have to talk about today. I didn't anticipate this episode being so gosh dang long. My audio recording is 50 minutes. So, this video will probably be slightly shorter than that based on editing, but I think next week's episode will likely be a lot shorter than this too. I don't think I'll have as much stuff to talk about. My throat is hoarse, so I'm going to cut myself off here, possibly go edit this video, and then get some sleep because I have to work at 9 a.m. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for getting me to 50 subscribers. When I started this channel, I really assumed that nobody in the entire world would watch it. I entirely make these videos for myself because I like talking about cross-stitching, regardless of if anybody listens or not. But thank you all so much. It really means the world to me. And I will talk to you next week. Bye!